Hi, this is Satiris Basakaropoulos. I'm just actually back from the gym. It's like 11 or something. And tonight I basically just want to talk about in business, you need to actually strike when the iron is hot. Now, I don't know if you're from around here, you'll know this saying. It's definitely used a lot in Northern Ireland. I don't know if it's used in America or in other countries, but what it basically means is when it comes to your prospects or buyers or whatever you'd like to call them, okay, they're all on their own journey. And when they actually come to you, when they approach you with something, they have arrived at a certain point in that journey. Okay. Now, sometimes, you know, um, there's a few reasons. There's maybe some reason, or there's some reason holding them back, and there's some reason why they won't be ready to proceed. Okay, so not every person will be ready right now. They might be waiting for something. They might be waiting for some money coming in from something, or they might be, waiting to sort out some personal stuff. So they're not always going to be ready, right? But quite often, they a lot of those people are actually going to be ready to proceed. And if you do not, you should not do silly things to actually hold the process back. Okay. Um, I recently did a mentoring program with someone, and one of the subjects that was always mentioned was the importance of your time, right? And of course, your time is important because it's the one thing that you have a limited amount of, right? We've all got just a limited amount of time. Um, but the thing about it is, um, people, and whether you like it or not, this is the truth, most people do not give a shit about your time, right? In most cases, they just want something done for them. They want something to change for them in their life. Yes, they just want a result, right? And if you're going around and beating around the bush and trying to act important and busy all the time and not answering your phone or calling them back when you said you would, you'll actually piss them off. Okay, now I'm talking from my own experience here. Okay, I'm talking about my own experience in doing business and maybe being in the middle of something and not being there for someone, when they called because I was literally doing something at the time. But I'm also more talking about other times that this has actually happened to me with other people. And, the thing is, I generally do not beat about the bush, okay? So, generally, if someone rings me and they want a new website or they want a coaching session on social media or internet marketing or setting up their website or whatever, you know, I will send them, a link right away to join. If it's a course, I'll send them a link to buy the course, or get the website set up or whatever it is. Okay, I don't mess around. Okay, and really, I don't think you should mess around either if you want to be able to do business with people. You're going to lose a lot of people if you start assing around, and saying, oh, well, I'll do it tomorrow or I'll be here next week or next month. Because by the time that happens, somebody else comes along and it's already done. Okay. So I wouldn't wait for days, for months, wait for the planets to align. It may be good for gamblers waiting for the planets to align, but it's not really for your business, right? In today's world, you know, people who F around will lose business, and it's just a fact, right? The other thing you need to think about is your customer. You need to think about what they actually want or what they actually need, because if you forget about their needs or what they want out of your business, why should they even deal with you? Why should they remain loyal to you? Because I'm sick of hearing about the high price in your time and making yourself hard to contact and busy all the time. Because personally, when I see people do this, I can see through it most of the time. Most of these people, it's just a flippant act. It's not even real. And there's the odd occasion when the person in question is actually genuinely busy, right? And you need to make an appointment. And, you know, that was the case. I went to see a kinesiologist like about 9 months ago. I was having some health challenges, and I went to see a kinesiologist, and she said, "Look, there's going to be no point for like it was like I don't know, it was like 6 or 7 months or something." And I finally got an appointment in July. I think it was maybe the end of last year. I went to see her, and I think I got an appointment in July, right? Now, she was actually genuinely busy, right? Every day she had appointments, right? So that's, genuinely being busy. But there's people saying, "Oh, I'm busy," so, oh, I mean, I've one friend who's like that, I'll ring him up myself, "Oh, I'm busy, I'm just going into a shop," or, "I'm in the car," or "I'm getting out of the car," or, and they'll say all these reasons why they're busy. And the thing about it is, I wasn't really going to even talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it anyway because I think it's relevant to the situation. Um, I had someone I met a few years ago, and basically we got chatting, and we both had things that we needed. He needed help with stuff, and I need help with stuff, and we said, right, well, I'll help you with your stuff, you help me with my stuff, right? So, cut a long story short, we did a bit of this and that, and then sort of we, lost touch for a bit. And then finally, I went back to him and I said, "Look, I need something done. Could you come and could you do it? Could you give me a quote, right?" Now, he gave me a quote, which was quite a substantial amount anyway. And I said to him, "I'll get back to you in a while. Um, when I decide." And I had a lot of things going on at the time. So health challenges and stuff. So that was all right. So I basically contacted them back, and I contacted them back and said, "Look, I'm ready. I've got the money that you need to do the job. I'm just ready. I just whenever you can do it, right?" And they told me, "Well, I'm going to be away for a week next week, but I can do it next week." So they came back to me the next week, and then they rang me and they said, "Look, we'll come on the Thursday and Friday, right?" But they told me now that the price that they told me that included certain things didn't now include it. So I was going to have to order these certain things, and these certain things I didn't even know what they were or where they went or anything about them. And I sort of kept ringing them. I kept ringing. This is supposed to be a friend of mine, right? Now, this isn't just someone in business randomly who I met and I'm ringing a business. This is meant to be someone who's like friends with me, right? And I rang up, "Oh, I'm in a meeting, I can't talk. Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing the other. And fair enough. I think he maybe rang me back once or twice, okay? And it was like ages after he said he rang me back. But the thing was, it was coming up the day where the stuff was needing done. I was needing to get the equipment the next day, and it was equipment that cost a lot of money, right? So it was equipment that I couldn't go and order and then not get the thing done. So I tried to call him the evening before, and he didn't. He didn't basically answer me. He didn't get back to me. So I didn't get the equipment, and lo and behold, he didn't turn up the next day anywhere. He didn't ring up saying he was going to turn up or do anything. So that was all right. So fair enough. Sort of said, okay, fair enough. So I rang him up, and he said, "Look, I'll do it next week on the same 2 days. We'll do it. We agreed we'll do it the next week on a certain 2 days." So that was okay. So again, you know, another week went by. I rang him on the Tuesday. He didn't answer me back. No, he did. He said, "I can't talk to you again," right? My friend said, "I can't talk to you. I'm really busy." Or he talked to me for a while, but he says, "I'll ring you later," which in my mind was to arrange the work, okay? And that was on the Tuesday. Um, I'll ring you back in an hour, actually, was his exact words. So I never heard from him on the Tuesday, okay? I didn't hear from him the Wednesday. I didn't hear from him the Thursday, which was the day I was supposed to come and do the work. I didn't hear from him the Friday. I didn't hear from him the Saturday. And by that stage, you know, um, by that stage, things happened, okay? Things happened. and I basically ended up getting someone else to look at it. Now they came out and they weren't friends, right? And they came out and they looked at it and they were charging basically half the price, right? We're talking, thousands less here, right? We're not talking, about 10p or about £50 or something. It was like, a substantial amount of money, right? Less. So we decided to go on ahead and do it. The guy came out immediately. As soon as he got my number, he actually found my number online. We actually found him online. He got 50 great references, right? And basically, as soon as I put in my details, he bought the details, and he called me literally, sent me a text that night, called me first thing the next morning, and made an appointment and come out. He came out on a Sunday, right? He came out on a Sunday and actually looked at the thing that needed done. And he then said, look, I don't have the equipment to look at this thing properly. So what I'll do is I'll come back. So he came again then first thing in the morning, Monday. He came and he looked at it. He gave us a very, very good quote, and explained very well what stuff he was going to do, which to me was perfect. And basically at the end of that, we said, okay, when could you do it? He said, I can do it this week. So I said, that's great, fantastic. So we give him the job. So basically he's coming tomorrow to do that job. But in the meanwhile, the friend of mine, got really ratty, sent me a lot of really ratty messages, Now the thing was, the time that elapsed between I said to come and do the job and now was like 5 weeks, okay? So it was 5 weeks, and it was a job that needed done. It needed done. I couldn't wait around for another 6 months or a year or something to do it. It was something that needed done. So the thing about it is that, you need to, firstly, just because someone is a friend doesn't mean you give them second preference, right? Whether it's a business or a friend, the first thing you need to do is you need to answer your phone. When you say you're going to do something, when you say I'm going to ring you back today, you ring them back, okay? Or if you forget to ring them back that day, ring them back the next day and say, look, I forgot to ring you back, if it's a genuine mistake. But you can't go away saying you're going to do something and leave people for weeks at a time and come back and expect them to still be waiting to do business with you, because it won't happen, okay? So in your business, you really do need to strike while the iron is hot. If you don't do this with whether they're friends, whether they're customers, I've had many times that I've seen people who I really liked, who really liked me, who knew what I did, who knew what my business was. And because I didn't jump in and say, right, here, I'm going to do this now, because I'm not a pushy person. I like people to come to me and say, I need this, or can you help me to do that? I don't like to go and shove myself in people's faces. They went and got stuff done with other people that was completely useless and got charged a lot more money, and that was because I was too slow off the mark. Okay, so it's the same for anyone, right? Now, this person who's meant to be a so-called friend of mine, yeah, after at the end of the big conversation, there was a whole lecture and back and forward, and at the end of the conversation says, "Oh, I'm okay with this" or whatever, and then 2 hours later, I got another message from him saying, "Oh, I blocked you on Facebook," I something crazy. It's like, I blocked you on Facebook because the mist of disappointment fell down or something, some crap like that, right? The mist of disappointment fell down. At the end of the day, it was his own fault, right? It was his own fault. It was absolutely not my fault. So, if you are in business, make sure that you actually do things when you say you're going to do them. Make sure if you're going to give a time scale to do something, that you do it. Make sure you contact the people. If the people disappear, if you try and contact them and they don't contact you back, or they disappear, they go on their holidays for 2 weeks, that's a different story. I've had people doing that. I've had clients where, they buy a website package and we start making the website. We spend 2 or 3 days and then with maybe 1 or 2 days left to go, doing bits and pieces, and they disappear and they go on a holiday and then they go to a seminar and then they go somewhere else, and then they never bother calling back and saying, let's do this or let's do that, and you have to message them and actually chase them, to actually do stuff, you know. But all I would say to you is that, make sure that when you get somebody and when they say, yes, I want to do business with you, make sure you go ahead and you sign off on the deal and you get it going, right? And don't mess around, because it will cost you a lot of money, and it will, it could also cost you a lot of hassle in the long run. I think it's absolutely ridiculous for someone to mess me around. Because I'm a friend, they can mess me around. They can charge me double what a stranger charges me, and then unfriend me that it's my fault. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. And I think, I'm better without friends like that anyway. So that's it for me for today's blog post. I will talk to you again soon. Thanks very much.